Somewhere between the day you just lived and the sleep waiting to take you, there is a frequency. You won't find it on any dial. It doesn't broadcast on a schedule. It comes when the hour is late and the lights are low, and you are ready to go somewhere without leaving where you are. This is the midnight frequency. What follows are radio dramas, some set in the smoky, rain-soaked world of the old golden age, where private detectives walked dark streets and every shadow had a secret. Some take place closer to now, some venture further out, into times and places that haven't happened yet. All of them are original stories, written in the spirit of the programs that once kept the whole country listening in the dark. From this moment forward, there are no interruptions, no commercials, nothing to pull you back. If you found something here worth returning to, we'd be grateful for your support. The details are in the show notes, but that's for later. Right now, there is only the story. Get comfortable, let it come.
Consider Adrian Voss, a physicist who worked alone, trusted no one, and built, in a rented workshop, a door. The door opens onto other worlds, but it has a rule, a cruel and elegant rule, and the rule is this: it will only open onto a world where another Adrian Voss has built the very same door. Which means that of all the infinite versions of himself scattered across the dark, the only ones he will ever meet are the ones obsessive enough, brilliant enough, and alone enough to have built this machine. He is about to walk into a room full of the most dangerous men he has ever known. Every one of them is him. Tonight, on the Midnight Frequency.
It took me 9 years. 9 years in a marriage, and most of my friends and all of my money. The principle was sound. A device tuned to a resonance signature so specific that only one thing in all of creation could match it. An identical device. Running somewhere across the membrane between worlds. I understood what that meant before I ever switched it on. It meant I could not travel anywhere I wanted. I could only travel where another me had built the same thing and turned it on. The machine does not find worlds. It finds itself. It finds the other hands that built it. And there is only one kind of man who builds a thing like this. Me. In every variation. Driven to it. So the first time I crossed, I knew exactly who would be waiting on the other side. The only person I have never been able to surprise. I knew it. I knew if it worked for me, it would work for you, for us. My God, look at you. You parted your hair the other way. He was me. Not like me. The same scar and the same thumb from the same stupid accident at 14. The same way of standing when he is nervous, weight on the back foot, ready to leave a room. I had spent 9 years building a mirror that talks back, and now it was grinning at me across a workbench, and I have never in my life been so unsettled and so understood at the same time. There will be more of us. You realize that. The signature is the same for all of us. Every Voss who builds the device and runs it joins the same network. We are going to be able to find each other. Think what we could do. Compare 9 years of work across 100 versions. We could finish everything. We could solve everything. He was right. And that was the first time I felt it. The thing I would spend the rest of this story failing to outrun. Because I looked at this delighted, brilliant, hopeful version of myself, and the very first calculation my mind ran, before wonder, before joy, was, what does he have that I do not, and how would I take it? I knew myself well enough to be afraid, because if I was already thinking it, so was every other man wearing my face.
There were, in the end, 9 of them. 9 workshops across 9 worlds, each holding an Adrian Voss who had given up everything to build the same impossible door. They began to meet. They called it, with the particular dry humor they all shared, the Quorum.
We gathered in the world of the one with the largest workshop. 9 men with one face. It should have been the greatest collaboration in the history of any world. For a while, it was. We pooled our research. We closed gaps that had stopped each of us cold for years. One of us had cracked the power problem. Another had solved the targeting. Apart, we were 9 obsessives who had ruined our lives. Together, we were the smartest thing in any universe. But here is what no one tells you about meeting yourself. You cannot lie to him. Every reassuring thing I said, 8 other men heard the lie underneath, because it was their lie too. When one of us proposed we share the network's location, every man in the room calculated, in the same half-second, the advantage of being the only one who knew. We could not trust each other for the simplest reason in the world. We knew exactly what we were each capable of. We had all had the same thoughts at 3 in the morning. We had simply never before had to look those thoughts in the face across a table. We need rules. No crossing into an occupied world uninvited. No taking what is not offered. And no removing a node. We do not power down another man's device. Ever. If a node goes dark, the rest of us can never reach that world again. It is gone. He is gone. We agreed. 9 men who did not trust each other agreed to a set of rules. And every one of us was already thinking about the conditions under which he would break them. I could see it on 8 identical faces. They could see it on mine.
It held for 11 days. On the 12th day, a node went dark.
You feel it before you understand it. The network has a sound, a chord, each node a note in it. And one morning the chord was wrong, thinner. A note had gone out. We crossed to check, the 7 of us who were left, and we found his workshop cold. Device dark, no sign of him. Just an absence shaped exactly like a man we all knew better than anyone alive. We told ourselves he had powered down by choice, walked away, gotten out while the getting was good, which was, after all, a very Voss thing to do. Then the next morning, the cord was thinner still, another note gone. And then we stopped telling ourselves anything because 7 became 6, and 6 became 4, and you cannot call it coincidence when the thing being deleted, one by one, careful and patient and unhurried, is you. Someone was culling the quorum, removing nodes, powering down our devices so the worlds went dark and unreachable, sealing each kill behind a door that could never open again. And it had to be one of us. It could only ever be one of us, because we were the only ones who could reach each other. One of these men with my face had decided the network should have exactly one survivor. And the worst part, the part that kept me awake in a locked workshop with my hand on the device, was that I understood the logic completely. I had run it myself the very first night, looking at the first delighted version of me. A network of 9 identical obsessive minds, each capable of building this, each capable of taking it. That is not stable. That is 9 loaded guns in one room. A sufficiently rational Voss, a sufficiently honest one, would look at that and conclude there was only one safe number of us. 1. He was not a monster. He was just the version of me who had stopped flinching from the math. He let me find him. Of course he did. He wanted to talk, because there is nothing a Voss loves more than being understood, and the only person who could ever truly understand him was sitting across from him now, with a shaking hand and a head full of the same arithmetic. You worked it out. I knew you would. You are one of the sharp ones. That is rather the problem, isn't it? All of us are one of the sharp ones. That is the whole tragedy of the quorum. There were no dull Vosses to thin the herd. Only the ones brilliant and relentless enough to build the door. The machine selected for exactly the men who could never share a world. You killed 6 of us. I closed 6 doors. The men behind them are not dead, in any sense you can prove. They are simply unreachable. sealed in worlds I can no longer harm, and they can no longer harm me. You say killed. I say I made the network safe the only way it can be made safe. You have done the math. You know there is no arrangement of 9 armed identical minds that does not end this way. The only question was ever which one of us would be honest enough to finish it.
And here is the thing I cannot describe to anyone who has not sat across from themselves. He was not raving. He was not wrong. Every argument he made was an argument I had already made, alone, in the dark, and talked myself out of by calling it a dark thought and going to bed. He had simply not gone to bed. He was me with the flinch removed. He was the answer to the question, what would I do if I truly, completely stopped being afraid of myself?
You are going to try to stop me. I know, because I would. And you are going to fail, because I have had this conversation 6 times now, and I have gotten very good at it. And because there is nothing you can do that I have not already predicted. I know where you will move before you move. I am you. That was always the unfair part of this. Not that one of us is a killer, that the killer knows exactly how the rest of us think.
He was right about everything except one thing. He said there was nothing I could do that he had not predicted. But he had had that conversation 6 times with 6 versions of me who fought to live. He had never once had it with a version who had already decided to lose. I did not fight him for the device. I did not run for the door he was guarding. I did the one thing a man fighting for his life would never do, the one move he could not predict because he would never have made it himself. I powered down my own device. Mine, the one in my homeworld that I had reached through. I had rigged it before I came, a dead man's switch. I closed my own door from the inside.
What did you... No, you have stranded yourself. You cannot get home. You have trapped us both in my world, with one device, and now I...
And for the first time in 6 conversations, he did not know what came next, because he had built his entire genius on predicting a man who wanted to survive, and the man across from him no longer did. I had taken the one thing he could not model, a version of us willing to lose everything to take him with me. We were alone in a sealed world with one machine and one truth between us. Only one of us was leaving that room. I will not tell you how it ended. You already know. You have known since the cold open, because you understand what kind of story this is and what kind of man survives it. I did the thing I swore I would never do, and I did it the way only I could have, because I knew exactly where he would not be looking. Of course I did. I was him.
Adrian Voss had stopped the killer. He had saved the Quorum, what was left of it. And in doing so, he had become the one thing the network always, inevitably produced. The last builder, the single survivor, the version of himself ruthless enough to do what had to be done. He had not defeated the hunter. He had replaced him.
I made it back. I found a Voss whose door was still open, and I crossed and I rebuilt. And I told the survivors it was over. The hunter was gone. We were safe. 4 of us left. We would be careful. We would be different. We had learned. We told ourselves that for a while, the way you do. And then, last night, the chord changed. Not thinner, fuller, a new note, a new harmonic, climbing up to lock into the network, clean and eager and proud. Somewhere across the dark, another Adrian Voss, alone in a rented workshop after 9 years in a marriage and all his money, had just switched on the door for the very first time. New, delighted, trusting, about to walk into a room full of the most dangerous men he has ever known. And I felt my hand move to the device before I had decided anything. I felt the math start to run, the way it ran the very first night. A network of identical obsessive minds is not stable. There is only one safe number of us. I knew the thought. I knew where it ended. I had killed a man for having it. And I reached for the machine anyway. Because I am the last builder now. And the last builder is always the one who was willing.
We comfort ourselves with a quiet lie that somewhere out there are the enemies, the others, the people not like us, and that we at least can be trusted. But the man who knows your every hiding place is not your enemy across some border. He is the one in the mirror who has had every thought you have had and flinched from the same ones until the night he stops flinching. Adrian Voss built a door to meet himself and learned the oldest and worst thing a man can learn, that the most dangerous person in any world is the one who already knows how you think. Sleep lightly. You have been listening to the Midnight Frequency.
This has been the Midnight Frequency. The studio goes dark now. Sleep well.